There's a double standard. The Olympics set up something noticeable, extra noticeable to me because I'm in the criticism business. So I really notice, but I'm going to make you notice. I'm going to make you either agree or disagree. There's a double standard. There's a double standard between our reaction to male and female athletes. People don't want to even talk about it. These are professional and successful male and female athletes. Not talking about some obscure fencer who's working 4 jobs and delivering pizzas to try to make it in the Olympics. We're talking about professional athletes. There's a double standard. It's an audience double standard. I would say an audience double standard first. And then because of that, a media double standard. The media part, I think, because I know it's always easy to say the media, but I think in this case, the media part is mostly out of fear, which I'm not a fan of. Out of fear, the audience will flip out, and you will. You don't like it. Nobody even likes pointing it out. I'm going to get it just for saying this. American tennis needs new faces and new stars desperately. Serena Williams has more than done her part for more than a decade. The men's side is completely vacant, and it's been that way for a long time. There is no American face on the men's side, nor is there any American future on the men's side. That's not true of the women's side. The bar's been set, the bar's been maintained and set on the women's side. There is no bar anymore on the men's side, which is too bad because it used to be cool. It used to matter. It used to matter a lot. Coco Gauff is a young star. She is perfect for Madison Avenue. That means perfect for advertising deals, endorsement deals. She is set to become, if not already, the new face of tennis. She's talented. She has game. She has a great smile, great demeanor. She was an Olympic flag bearer along with LeBron James. There's everything to like. Everything is set up. But her Olympic flameout is not just a buzzkill. The way it ended is silly. And here's the part. If it were a male athlete, he'd be ripped. It would be nonstop discussion if it were a male athlete. Not just losing. The losing part would be a discussion by itself. It's losing and then exactly how he lost and the way he handled losing. Look, my point. If LeBron James scored 4 points in an Olympic game, he'd be trashed. If LeBron James scored 4 points in an Olympic loss, he would be ripped. If LeBron James, and we do it all the time, were flopping and whining about calls, we would criticize him for good reason, and we do that pretty often. Because he does. He's been by the way, he's not done that so far. He's been a solid star in the Olympics, and they're playing great. If there's any slip whatsoever, that team would get ripped, he would get ripped constantly. So he's been solid. That's not an issue as of now. He's been everything advertised. He, by the way, with Coco Gauff, was a flag bearer at the Olympic Games. The better example, maybe to use, would be Joel Embiid. He's an NBA player who can be really good at times, and then he's been a mess at times, too. He's been a mess in the Olympics, and guess what? He's getting trashed. They're winning, and he's getting trashed. He's getting ripped by fans and media for good reason. He's a rich pro. So was Coco Gauff. She just flamed out of the Olympics in a straight set loss, and in doing so, she ripped an umpire and cried on the court. LeBron James begs for calls, and we hammer him. He flops, and he does, and we hammer him. She's the number 2 player in the world. I believe she just lost in straight sets and cried during the match, losing to, I think, number 21 or 22. I'm not screaming for you to rip her. I'm just pointing out that the reaction, the response is completely different. I don't know how many examples of guys that we could talk about are crying in the middle of a game on the court about a call. Oh, they whine, and we absolutely hammer them when they whine about a call. Dak Prescott gets hammered, and he doesn't whine about anything. She cried on the court during the match. So she loses in the Olympics in straight sets. In the process, she screamed to an umpire and, quote, she was screaming. I can play the audio. You can't hear all of it. My point is, can you imagine a male athlete doing this and the reaction of the public? So she screams. It's during the match. And why does this always happen to me? That's what she says. She's arguing the call. You know, people do it all the time. Yep. Look, she's the number 2 player in the world. She's a pro. She's the face of the game. She's a flag bearer. Imagine if a basketball player screamed, "Why does this always happen to me?" And you heard that on a mic. The talk space would be relentless.
Going back to hit the ball, he called it out before I did it.
If you understand that I have to make a decision, and in this case...
But you have to be sure. You can't say maybe.
100% sure.
No, you're not. You just said maybe I'm wrong. It's not.
Based on your reaction, I might be wrong. But I have to make a decision.
I never argue these calls, but he called it out before I hit the ball.
I understand.
It always happens to me on this board.
Well, Jeff is not going to like it.
You couldn't hear it. This always happens to me. But Jeff, it does. Shut up. You would, if you heard that from a male athlete, you would go nuts, and for good reason. And don't tell me it always happens to her. She's the number 2 player in the world. Come on. And she lost in straight sets. And even now, to her credit, I mean, I know I'm going to have to do this because otherwise I'm going to get hammered because you don't criticize, apparently you just don't criticize a lot of female athletes. It's not tolerated. It's not. But she came back later and has said, look, that's not the reason why I lost the match. I think she probably feels pretty silly about it. She should. My point is that the reaction, the coverage is completely different. If the men's basketball team doesn't win by 15 or 20 points, Steve Kerr's getting trashed. And we have legitimate debates about, well, did they underachieve and this and that. She lost in straight sets to someone that's 21 or 22 in the world and screamed and cried during the match. Oh, but she's emotional. Okay, and if I said LeBron James is emotional, you would flip out, and you know it. She's a professional. Makes a lot of money. And there was, everything was set up. I mean, this is, the 2 of them were flag bearers, and the idea for NBC was all along that these 2 are going to be stars during this Olympic Games, and this is going to work out, and they're going to be the smiling face of the games, and it's all going to be perfect. Yeah, there's a ton of pressure. That's the way it goes. That's the way it works. They get rich. Instead, she lost in the process. This always happens to me. Just imagine the reaction if someone on the men's basketball team was caught on mic complaining in a loss against somebody obviously ranked much lower, and in the process on a mic you heard one of them say, "This always happens to us if a call doesn't go their way." There would be zero tolerance for it. There would be zero sympathy. Instead, there's not, that I've read in the last 6 hours, there's not been any criticism. In fact, the only criticism is of the umpire. The reaction is overall, completely across the board, a complete double standard. Now, you can do with that whatever you want, and that's the public. Now, you can explain why do you think that is. If you want to disagree all you want, go right ahead. Just saying, here's a pretty good example of what I think is a double standard in play, and that is the public's reaction, fans' reaction, and then public and fan reaction then turns into pretty soft and sympathetic media reaction.